do.
Always do.
Jesus Christ. I am getting more and more anxious as I watch Black Mirror, which is out now, the new season. And it's almost like, okay, you know when you eat like a bag of hot Cheetos or Takis, or for me and you, we have like full on normal uncut ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, this is going to suck later, but I'm going to enjoy it now. That's how Black Mirror's been for me. 2 days in a row, I have watched episode 1 and 2. And then on day 2, I watched episode 3 and 4. Both nights, horrible dreams. Like, really? Paralyzing fear. And I don't know what it is about this season that is really just getting my goat. But I love it. God, I love it so much.
I haven't caught up on this new season. I'm a little behind, but yeah, there have definitely been some episodes that like stuck with me. And then you're thinking about it for the next day or two.
What is your Black Mirror? Not even in media, but you're just like, this is gonna suck later, but I'm gonna enjoy it now.
Horror movies at night. I'm definitely of the type to be like, you know, I'll turn off the light and then immediately have to like look over my shoulder.
Yeah,
immediately.
I get that. I get that entirely. When it came out and I was still all in on like the long legs hype, which I still am. I love it. But I watched it and then I watched it again for a review that me and Alex were doing. And by that time, it had been the third time that I had seen long legs, which is a lot for other people. I was just like, man, this is so cool and creepy. Hail Satan. Like, it's awesome. But I said this in the review that's somewhere on the channel. I fell asleep and then I woke up at the end of the movie. Spoilers, but it's been out forever now. Where he's like bashing his face in, and I'm like coming to, and I just look up at my TV and I just see Nick Cage looking right down the barrel and it's like, Hail Satan. And then it ends, and I was just like, I should not have woken up. I should have just stayed asleep. And yeah, I didn't sleep, and it ruined my night. But it was incredible. Yeah. Laura, hi everyone. Thank you guys for joining us. We always appreciate it because we've been so inconsistent lately. To be fair, it's mostly Daniel's cat's fault. Yeah, they're pretty mean. But hi Laura, hi Steve, hey Jean, Granite Grizz, hey Granite. Let's see, Dwayne. Who else we got here? Hi everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I've seen Sinners. It's always safe to assume that like I've seen most things. Daniel, you have not, correct?
I've not, no, but I'm hearing the hype and it looks incredible. And I would love to see it in like 70 millimeter, but you know, tickets for that are like near impossible to get.
What's up, Keone? I don't know who that is, but hello, Keone. Wherever you may be. It's great. It's really, really great. I obviously you guys have been following me for a while. You know, I watch everything, I review everything. It's one of the few movies that I'm like, you have to see in theaters. Most things, I'd say a large bucket of movies that have come out in the last couple of years are like, you can enjoy it. Like the story's great. You can enjoy it at home, but the theater experience does not really add to the overall enjoyment of the film. That is not correct with Sinners. Sinners is fantastic. And there is different lens shifts and perspectives based on emotional moments, and it's filmed. I think, Daniel, correct me, you're more of the film technician, but it's 90 millimeter, long one, and 35 is the shit. Okay. 60, 30.
It's 15 on the side, or actually it'd be 15 across the top because IMAX moves horizontally through the camera.
Oh, right.
Whereas
I don't know 35, right? I don't know that
goes vertically. Yeah, that I don't know if you saw that video that Ryan Coogler put out talking about like the different video formats that this would be available in. and
Yes.
how they talked about how they shot it on 60 millimeter, which is like the big format, it's the big one, and then adjusted, and he said that narratively it also helps to like drive the story, right? So
It
there are points
does.
where it's shot in the big format, points where it's shot in the widescreen, the anamorphic format. So I don't know. I feel like it's just adding another element to the storytelling, and it seemed
Which,
like it
if
benefit
you
from it.
all out there will notice, Daniel said exactly what I said, but smarter. So it was the difference between, you've seen Ryan Coogler, speaking of Sinners, his Criterion closet, when he's like, Jackie Chan trilogy, you know what I mean? and the other guy is just like, Point de Mort is a great film, really showing the French tapestry. And then he comes in and he's got the Jackie Chan, she's like, Jackie Chan trilogy, you know what I mean? That's basically me and Daniel in a fucking nutshell. Well, hello everyone, welcome and thank you all so much for joining us. Daniel, we haven't even said we've got new art. We've got This is the first time I think we've had like the new background. We've got our new logo. We haven't really drawn attention to it, Daniel. The Dan stands are here. Yep.
Hi,
Hello,
everyone. Thanks for
everyone.
joining. Thanks for watching. Just
I
boost that engagement count. Make sure you're commenting every 4 seconds.
Daniel, Alexis said you're ugly. That's all I took from that. You fucking
I'll
monster.
take it. That's fair. That's fair.
Well, everyone, we've got
my
art.
mood lighting's broken.
Yeah. Oh, is it? I was gonna say I didn't want to bring attention to it. You've already got the cat. You got a lot going on. I've got. Look at our my girlfriend's dad. You can kind of see it. I haven't really put it up too much yet. I didn't really like the way it looked right there, so I moved it. But it says Fandom Social on it, and it's on one of. Well, I'll leave it at that because I don't want to give away where he works. But it's really cool. It's really cool. And so thank you again, guys, for joining us. We've got new art. We've updated the YouTube channel. Obviously, we still have the Facebook group. I'll be honest. Me and Daniel are 30-somethings who don't really use Facebook. So this is just us kind of saying it will eventually dwindle down. We're revamping our Instagram. Like, we're going to start reusing that again, and our YouTube channel. So YouTube, Instagram, probably the best way to keep up with the show, and whatever is happening with Daniel's cats. So follow us there. We'll still post in the Facebook group, but here and there. All right. So today we are going to be talking a little bit about Star Wars Celebration 2025, a con that means a lot to me. It was one where I felt most validated and welcomed by Star Wars fans, which lasted all of 72 hours. And then we'll be debuting a new segment, Trailer Park, where me and Daniel are just watching regular trailers and kind of reacting to it, but not reacting while the trailers are going on. God, that drives me crazy. And if I do it, you can call me a hypocrite.
We need to get that Vanity Fair breakdown set up where they can like draw on the screen and kind of like use arrows and stuff. The John Madden of it all.
I was gonna say, for the straights, for all one straight person out there watching, like John Madden. I was gonna say Vanity Fair second, but you can tell. Yeah. So, and then we'll be talking some trailers. We're gonna talk Tron. There's one trailer on there, Daniel. I don't even know if you know what the movie is, but I brought it up because it is a very particular conversation point about a very particular actor that's just been kind of on the forefront of my mind, and I'm just like, what the hell is this guy doing? Anyways, let's get into it. So we just got out of Star Wars Celebration 2025. No surprise, Daniel, massive Star Wars fan, huge. He's inked. I'm a very passive Star Wars fan. I like pretty much everything. I've seen pretty much everything. Maybe, with some of the Disney Plus shows not in there, but Daniel, overall, I'm asking you, Daniel, and everyone in the collective audience, what did you think of Celebration this year? Because I have my thoughts, as I always do, about everything, but I'm curious, but with you as like an actual Star Wars fan, what you thought of Celebration 2025 in Japan.
Overall, I enjoyed it. I feel like I wasn't able to catch the streams. It was in Japan this year, so the time was a little off for us here stateside. So I wasn't watching the streams, but I was kind of like keeping up with it on Twitter here and there, just to catch the highlights. But I feel like overall, we're seeing a lot of like, I don't want to say Dave Filoni-isms, but we're definitely like coming back to the Dave Filoni sandbox.
Right.
But we got the
what does that mean? What's the Dave Filoni sandbox?
The Dave Filoni sandbox. So word on the street is that he doesn't allow anyone to write for Ahsoka, the character, because that is like his brainchild, and that is like his big contribution to the franchise, right? And so they say like he doesn't really let anyone else write for Ahsoka. He doesn't like people kind of creating like narrative story points for her. Like he'll design the outline, the plot. If he needs to hand it off to a writing room, they'll probably do that. But for the most part, like he is in almost full creative control of like Ahsoka as like the character and the IP within the Star Wars franchise. But same thing with like Star Wars Rebels. That was like his brainchild, and
a little bit of the Mando and Grogu. I was gonna say some of the Clone Wars, right? Very similar, where parts of the Clone Wars are his brainchild, right? I know like a lot of some of the, especially some of the old like is Toonami the right word? Like when it came out, like when it was on Toonami, it was premiere on Cartoon Network, like that's that stuff.
Yeah. And so like when Dave Filoni's in charge of a project, we get like those same characters. We get like Plo Koon, we get Commander Wolf, I want to say one of the clones. Very like self-insert type characters, right? And I feel like with Filoni in charge, we've been kind of like circling this sandbox for like a decade now.
I agree. They being Star Wars, and I think this will feed into some of the news and stuff that we're getting around Star Wars Celebration. They have what I've always called the issue of nostalgia, where they're just like they got burned really, really bad by the new trilogy. Burned in the sense of like reception, critical failure, obviously creative failure in the sense that like they just couldn't align on a vision. And so Star Wars is just like they've burned their hand on the stove of trying to go past what people know, and they're so afraid.
Yeah. Once bitten, twice shy,
Exactly. And so what Filoni is great at is like, all this shit that you guys have seen a ton of times. Well, here it is in a different color, which is not bad, right? Like that sounds bad because I'm kind of a hater when it comes to Star Wars. That's no surprise. But they are very, very good at it. And Filoni is the best at it, I feel. And Favreau is really great at kind of bringing it to fruition, which is why in some of our news that we'll get into, I was very, very surprised. But let's start here. With staying in the Filoni-isms, as Daniel mentioned, that Hayden Christensen is back in Ahsoka, right? Like he's coming back. Yes, in case anyone was curious who Hayden Christensen was.
That was some of the art that they featured at Celebration,
which was perfect. Danny, can you bring that up again?
Yeah, please.
Perfect. So I enjoy it, and I appreciate that he's coming back in. I also love like the Hayden Christensen like revisionism, a lot of isms, revisionists that are out there now. That he's getting love again because he truly was like, woof. He got ran through the ringer back in the days. Like I don't remember that happening, but also I think we were kids, Daniel, and like there were like grown men who didn't like him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's that same problem where it's like the fans from like the original trilogy were shitting on the prequels, right? They hated what's his name, Austin Lloyd something, the kid.
The kid, yeah,
shit all over him. They hated Hayden Christensen, for being like a moody teenager when he was
right
supposed to be a moody teenager.
Jake Lloyd. Yeah. I thought it was like Austin Lloyd Webber, but I was like, isn't that the guy that created the phone? But I think that's Alexander Graham Bell. So I'm all over the place today. I work in marketing, people. But yeah, it's I agree. Like, he's back. We also got to look at Roy McCann. Oh man, that is hard. Rory McCann, who plays the Hound in Game of Thrones. He's going to be replacing Ray Stevenson, who had passed away, unfortunately, as Balin Skull from Ahsoka. So, yeah, I mean, great casting, I think, here. Unless I'm mistaken, and again, you, Daniel, and some other folks out there may be a little bit more tapped into this, but I believe pretty much universal acclaim for him. They're like, oh yeah, this is a good replacement.
Yeah. So far, it hasn't really been like rubbing anyone the wrong way. I feel like people love Rory McCann from Game of Thrones, so I feel like he kind of carries that almost like a nostalgia weight on his own, because I don't think he's been in much since. But it's one of those roles where it's like it's hard to see him outside of like the Hound. But I think without the makeup, with the beard, with the lightsaber, hopefully that's enough to like pull people out of that and like really immerse them back into Ahsoka. Because a recast is no joke. I mean,
right.
Sometimes it's seamless, sometimes it's very evident.
Yeah, I don't really need them. Like, I just kind of want in any type of recast of a character. We're going to be running into this issue, I'm sure, within the next 5 years with T'Challa, right, as Black Panther. Like, just recast someone that can play the role and move on. Like, you don't need to do a lot of explaining. So, so moving on from that, I think this to me was what I saw mostly over my feed. And it was that Ryan Gosling is confirmed for the new film Star Wars Starfighter, which should be arriving in theaters in May 2027, so roughly about 2 years from now. The film is a post-Rise of Skywalker film, which would put us further than we've gone before in the Skywalker saga lore canon timeline.
Right.
Is that right? That's right?
Yeah. Okay. So this is like the one piece thing, the one piece where people are saying like we're finally getting out of the sandbox because we're pushing the timeline forward. This is the furthest we've ever been. I feel like every project since, because Rise of Skywalker came out in what, 2019, right? 19. So I mean, it's been we're pushing 6 years now, and we've yet to go any further than that, right? Despite all the shows, all the cartoons. I mean, they're doing some fun stuff, but yeah, we've never really gone past episode 9, and so it'll be fun to like kind of break past.
Yeah, it'll be nice to not have a million YouTube channels say like, actually, they're borrowing this from the retconned stuff, or what is the extended canon, or what do they call it? The bonus canon, like the old books and everything.
Legends,
like
I think they call them legends.
Legends. So I'm excited. Like, this is something first time in the future in canon. Yeah. This is something that I've been very vocal about with Star Wars, probably to the point where like there were certain people at Sideshow that were like, you can't say that anymore. But Star Wars has been so cowardly with going forward. And I really love to see them do this. And for people who are like, there's other actors out there that are Ryan Gosling. Like, I don't think you understand the weight of this film, and they're not going to put this on like some Joe Schmo who's maybe great, but doesn't have like the star power to combat what the weight of this movie is going to be. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I think it's a good choice. And I'm super stoked to see them move past. Yeah. All right. Speaking of moving past, we got new information, some sequels to anime content, which is Star Wars Visions. Another one I didn't see, Daniel, but
it's good. Do you remember the Animatrix, where it was like
I do Animatrix? Loved.
It's great, right? It's very similar concept, right? Where it's like they got different like anime studio houses to like make short films for this like anthology series. So it's not necessarily connected. I think there are some like sequel stories like within the 2 seasons. But for the most part, each one kind of stands on its own. And it's like like a short film style content done with the anime studios in Japan. And they've been actually pretty good. There was one with like Neil Patrick Harris that I could not stand, just based off his voice. But
oh my god, yeah.
Otherwise, it was good.
There were a few that were particularly popular, and like one of them is, I think, called, like, from what I'd said, again, I haven't seen it. Maybe a lot of you guys have, but it's called The Ninth Jedi, I believe, is what it's called. And there's a sequel to that story that they had sort of used to propel this announcement of more Visions content coming. And there's like, oh, you're getting all of this stuff, and then they're like, this is a sequel to one of the. It's called I think it's called the Ninth Jedi or the 11th Jedi, something. Someone will correct me in a second, but apparently it's very good. And it, from based on what I saw, the sequel is a limited series. So yeah, and very, very stoked to see what they're doing there. A few Disneyland updates. The Mandalorian and Grogu themed update is coming to the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which will let you engineer and take care of Grogu. Also, they kind of announced a little bit later, I grabbed this a little while ago, but that you will be able to sort of select your mission now. Like you can go to the Death Star, you can go to Tatooine, you can go to like Mandalore or Cincinnati, whatever the hell that Disney wants to put out there for everyone. Like you can do it. So I don't know. What do you think of Smuggler's Run?
Honestly, it's kind of whack.
I think it's whack too. I do not like it.
I like just based off like the screen that they sit you in front of, because obviously it's like a ride motion simulator. It's very much like a small Star Tours, right? But less better. It's just something about it. Like there's like a fogginess to the screen. There's like a haziness to it. I've been caught in like a loop issue cycle thing where like you're at the end of the ride, like if the cast members need to stall for time, then you get put into this little like video where it's like, oh, we're caught in an asteroid field, like fly us out of here, that kind of thing. And so it's like a way to like stall, and we got stuck in that for like 2 cycles. It's kind of crazy.
Fucking asteroid field.
What do you mean? I love the immersion. I love like getting to press the buttons, play with the controls. It's fun, but it's kind of boring.
It's very well themed.
Yeah,
I'll say that it's very well themed. My favorite part of Smuggler's Run is seeing the people who have spent upwards to $3,000 or $4,000 with their partner. They wait in line, they get there, they got a cool hotel, and then they get stuck just being like the engineer behind like a 6-year-old who's like flying like this. Like this is just what you get for putting too many eggs, like emotional eggs in that basket. That's my favorite part of Smuggler's Run. Also, being able to drink after is always nice.
Now we're talking. And that too, the cantina. I mean, well, another story for another day, but I didn't like the cantina either.
I did. I really enjoyed it. I not to brag, but when I went, I was there like a month or so after it opened. And Disney, if you're watching this, you're not, but I borrowed one of the original menus. Huh. So it's still got like the jet juice and everything on it, and it's still unlaminated, and it's still textured. Like you remember when you would make the buffalo in school, we'd make like the buffalo hide project, and you would just take brown paper and then just like rub it a lot.
No,
you have no one has any idea what I'm talking about. I'm not crazy. Okay, that's real. Anyways, that's what it's like. Well, favorite part of the Schadenfreude. I do like the Schadenfreude. I just realized I'm losing sunlight, so everyone just enjoy this. Enjoy me adjusting my light. There we go. That looks terrible. I look like I'm being I'm like a suspect in one of those Netflix murder shows. Now I look worse. Oh, God, this looks terrible. Let's see. Better? Worse? Worse.
Oh, there we go.
I look so pale. I look like I could work in our current administration. That's fun. We're not monetized anyways. I was gonna say
that's a good point. We're gonna have like a hate field comment section.
It's fine. They can't read. But yes, I am a little bummed this year. We've had a few other things actually. Let me, before I say my bit here. I think one of the other big things, and I think this is maybe why we're ending on it, is the Star Wars Mall Shadow Lord. So it's like the new animated show with Sam Witwer's coming back. He's returning as Darth Maul, who previously voiced the villain in Clone Wars and various other projects. And he's coming back. They've got an animated show. People saw a trailer. I saw a little bit of it leaked online. It's kind of Bad Batch art. but it is a little bit. There's like a little bit more realism that I think is gonna play into it. I don't know, like,
I'm excited because I do love like Darth Maul as a character, but like we've seen him die 3 times on screen now.
I know.
Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, where it's like Filoni's like, what do we got? What do we got? Let's give him a Darth Maul show, you know?
Yeah.
And
nostalgia,
trying to slap us with nostalgia. Absolutely.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. And the light is driving me nuts. Whatever. You know what? We're just gonna deal with this right now. I'm just gonna try not to look like I'm being abducted by aliens. This looks so bad. I'm so sorry. Anyways, whatever, man. So my summation before we start getting into the trailers here is I thought this was a very weak Star Wars celebration. I looked and I combed for a few days. There weren't that many like crazy highlights, unless someone out there is noticing something like huge that we missed. I don't know if I missed much here. Did I, Daniel? Like,
no. I mean, this is really it. They're good at like hyping up what they are putting out, but I think
hello, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
I don't.
You met Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Jeff's great.
I love a good Jeff.
I feel like Disney and Star Wars, they're in this weird moment where it's like they're kind of afraid to take the next step, and I think they're like kind of warming us up to the idea of like, hey, things are gonna start changing, you know, maybe, you know. And I feel like for that, they're kind of like inching their way into like the new direction rather than like diving in. Because the last Star Wars celebration, I think we got like the announcement for what was it? Patty Jenkins, like Rogue Fighter movie.
Yeah, I feel like we got a lot of stuff. We got like Bad Batch. Anthony Daniels was there. We had like Daisy Ridley had said that like she's involved in a project. That's when Hayden Christensen was like, and that's where the fun begins. And he like did that whole thing, and the crowd lost their mind.
Yeah.
There was a really handsome fellow talking about collectibles that was up there. Pedro Pascal was a headliner. It was great. I'm not going to do the story. I always do it, but I'm not. But yeah, it was slightly better. I don't know. Should we go? Do you think we're going to the next one?
Yeah, maybe. I'll be there. Yeah, I love showing up to these things and like just hanging out outside the convention center with a camera, and I'll try and get like a profile photo or like a portrait of someone that there you are. Portrait of someone, you know, just in costume. Get their email, send it to them later. That's always been fun. Yeah. And you don't need to buy a ticket for that.
Yeah.
But they're kind of pricey, and I would love to go, but a lot of these events end up being just like, you know, you're waiting in line for hours to get into this panel, or you want to go check this panel out, but it's sold out or it's reserved or something. I've never had the best luck. So cons aren't really my thing.
I agree. Maybe it's just not how I want to like spend my time now. Most of the stuff's like on the internet. When I used to go, they were like networking events. And so it was kind of cool to see other people. And then obviously we'd work them, right? So I was being paid to be there. It's very different when you go at a different time and you're just like, oh my God, like I cannot believe that I'm in line for this hot dog and this water and I'm being like paid to be here, and I'm being such a grump about being here. And this family behind me is paid like $2,200 to be at Comic-Con for just 2 people. And like, we're in the same place. Like, it's hard for me to have it make like financial sense.
Right.
But if anyone out there wants to sponsor me and Daniel's trip to go to Celebration, we are not above being sellouts. I don't know. We need to put that in our YouTube description, Daniel, that we are for sale.
Flat out at fandomsocial.com.
Come,
we do bar
come at us.
We do.
Daniel will strip as your favorite host, Daniel. It's just you very uncomfortable just putting more clothes on.
Yeah. Putting on a jacket. Like, you like that? Is that?
Me neither. Please, why did you pay for this? All right. Well, now the time has come where this has been something that I've been wanting to do. I'll explain a little bit here. I have been wanting to do this segment since my days at Sideshow. It has been turned down a few times, not only because it's not very original. Obviously, people watching trailers is obviously as hack can be, but there was just always a lot of trepidation around my favorite name of Trailer Park. I loved it. and everyone who knows from back in the day, Bossy Boss and Autumn, they were just like, I get it, but like, there's no way we can call this that. So here we go. Years later, we finally get to do Trailer Park. So again, all it is I would love to watch these trailers because I feel like I watch everything, as everyone knows. Daniel, I don't know how you feel about like movie trailers. I've got my own opinions on them in general, but I watch everything in a silo because I'm such a loser that I watch like everything multiple times by myself in the early morning, and I don't ever like talk with anyone. I don't read YouTube comments mostly because they're so depressing. So like this is kind of a more of a fun forum to get first reactions from everyone, chat what we think that some of these movies are good, how they're going to perform. Does it show too much? Basically anything is on the table for these trailers. So what Daniel, so as we get into this, what's your take on movie trailers? Do you watch like all of them? Do you catch them when you can? Are there some that you're more or less excited for?
I'm not. I know some people are like, I will not watch trailers because they always give way too much. I'll watch it if it catches my eye, if it's something that I'm interested in, or like the Fantastic Four trailer when that dropped. Like as soon as I saw it on my Twitter, I was like, I stopped work, I put my phone on mute, and I was like, I'm gonna sit and watch this, right? But yeah, no, I mean, for the most part, I'm not too critical of it. I won't go into the YouTube comment section either. It's always a cesspool. But yeah, I'll watch it, take it for what it is. I hate the little stingers on the front where it's like trailer starts in 5, 4. Just
start the goddamn trailer, man.
Just like play the damn thing.
It is, it's very frustrating. I also tend to watch pretty much everything. There are sometimes, and I always do this to myself, and I don't know if anyone else does, but I'll like watch the trailers again because I watch everything. And then when I go watch the movie and I'm like, man, I really wish I didn't watch the second and third trailer. That always happens to me. And I never learn ever. I was that way specifically with Sinners. After the first trailer, I should have never watched another thing. Like if I didn't know certain aspects of that film going into it and like they didn't market any of that, which as a marketing person, like I understand why some of these trailers are made. But I think if there wasn't, and like if you could only put out legally one, which I'm trying to pass a bill, which with the current administration is not going to be very hard. You can just get anything flown in. Just one trailer for your project. So make it a good one.
Yeah.
Because now there's just everything.
No, that makes sense. Because I mean, there are like international trailers that show a little more or something, and it's like slightly changed. It's different. Yeah, I feel like that can really like lend to a negative viewing experience. I just recently watched Companion, which was incredible. Loved it. And I remember there's the first twist, right, which is like, oh my god, she's a robot the whole time. Right. But it happens in like the first third of the movie. And I was like, okay, well, if they showed that in the trailer, what's coming? What's the real twist?
Exactly. Yes.
And that was great. That was the one time when like a trailer has like elevated the experience, in that I went in kind of blind. I've seen the trailer like once. I kind of knew what it was about. But watching the movie, that they got you with a second twist. Very M. Night. Very,
yes. Yeah, that I think that's one that could have used a little editing, like the trailer. I'm like, man, I wish she wouldn't have known she's a robot. Like that'd be so much better. But you got to sell your selling point. So they got to get that Alex Garland crowd in. Oof, these are jokes that would be crushing on r-film, bro. I'm just saying. So
take it back to Letterboxd. I'm sure they love you.
Just leave it. Just leave it in my makeshift Criterion closet. It's so sad. It's just Small Soldiers 11 times. All right. So with that, let's kick off Trailer Park with our first trailer. If you are a huge fan of the series, I mentioned a little bit briefly earlier, but it is going to be Tron Ares, which should be coming out, I believe, October 10th is the current date
Yeah,
for this.
October 10th.
October, did I have that right? Okay, October 10th. Again, starring Jared Leto. Joaquin Cronin is the director on this. Daniel, let's play it, and then we can do some first reactions.
Yeah, let's do it.
120 miles per hour. Last seen heading northbound.
Unit 12, acknowledging dispatch. Already in pursuit.
I'm looking for something. Something I do not understand. Ready? Because there's no going back.
Okay. Not that.
There you go. Daniel, thoughts?
Immediately, I'm in. I'm sold. I'm not a big fan of Jared Leto, but like,
yeah, we got some of that.
I guess I don't know how big of a role he's gonna have. Because in the first Tron was a side character, kind of, right? He was like helping Kevin Flynn get through the grid. So I'm hoping it's kind of similar in that maybe Evan Peters is the main character, and then like Greta Lee, I think is her name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they're the leads, and then Jared Leto's character is like an antagonist turned hero towards the third act. Love that shot of the recognizer coming out from like behind the building. That was dope. I love Tron. Or Tron, like, see, Pete saw it. He knows what's up. I think it looks great. And I'm really fucking excited for the Nine Inch Nails.
Yes, dude.
It seems more like adult, more dark, and I feel like Daft Punk would have been a little too, I don't know, kiddie, too friendly, too.
It's funny at this point, Daft Punk coming back is almost like nostalgia bait. Like we were just talking about with Disney. Like I'm really surprised that Disney didn't go with Daft Punk. Also, Daft Punk is probably just like, fuck you, walking with you. But
okay, yeah. See, he's probably gonna have like a major role.
Well, it's Tron Ares. I feel like an idiot. I had no idea that was the name of his character. Okay. Obviously, I'm not like, other than the more recent one, like Tron's not really a big part of my pop culture tapestry. But the music is always great. I just have been listening to not recently, but like last month or so, the Tron Legacy soundtrack, the Daft Punk one that Daniel was mentioning, is so good. I think this is going to be unfortunately, I'm just calling it now, and I'm going to do this at the end of all of these. I'm going to call my shot on how much money I think it's going to make. But I think this movie will be like a visual feast. I think it's going to look great. It's going to sound great, but it's going to be ultimately hollow, which I think is kind of the MO of a lot of these Disney films that they're bringing back for these things. I mean, maybe there's a world. You think there's a world in there, Daniel, where this just like outright works and we're just like really, really in love with this film? Or do you think I'm kind of on the money with it being relatively hollow?
I don't know. I think the cynicism in me is definitely going to like aim towards that. Because I feel like that's what a lot of people were expecting of Tron Legacy, right? They were like, oh, it looks great, but like, what is the story there, right? Like how deep can you get with it? How emotional can you make it? And it ended up working because it was about like father and his son, right? So like it wasn't even about Tron in the end of it, really. So I don't know. I'm hoping we get to see something like that because I mean, obviously, you never want to pray for a bad movie, but yeah, I'm hoping that it's just visually, audioly, story wise. I hope it just
audibly.
There you go.
I
hope it lands. I really want to see it pop off.
My guess, my prediction for this movie: opening weekend, 70 million.
Opening weekend, 70 million. Okay,
which I'm being generous.
I'm gonna say $2 billion.
Okay,
global, worldwide.
Alex, we're gonna go 71 million.
$1, Bob.
I will kill you. All right, let's move on to our next film. Promise you all, this has nothing to do with Jared Leto, but it seems like everyone is in this next trailer except for Jared Leto. We are talking Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme. Daniel, take it away.
At this moment, rescue workers are laboring to recover and identify the remains of Zsa Korda, international businessman, maverick in the fields of armaments and aviation, among the richest men in Europe. This was Korda's 6th recorded airplane crash. He is survived by 10 children, 9 boys, 1 nun, his daughter Liesel.
I've appointed you sole heir to my estate, which you may come into sooner rather than later.
Why? It's been 6 years since our last meeting.
I have my reasons.
Which are what?
My reasons? I'm not saying. I'm saying I'm not saying. Korda Land and Sea Phoenician Infrastructure Scheme. My most important project of my lifetime.
Our objective: disrupting, obstructing, impeding, crippling Korda's enterprise in any manner possible.
Get the hand grenades. Today, tonight, and tomorrow, we rendezvous with every Titan and pretend we agree what we already agreed. But in fact, we don't. We can't. Call it.
Heads.
Heads.
Is this supposed to be here? It was under the lunch trolley.
Oh dear, we shot you.
Terrorists from out of town. Help yourself to a hand grenade.
You're very kind.
Could you imagine falling in love with a man like me, by the way, hypothetically?
You're drunk on 3 beers.
Why are you shooting my ceiling?
This is a robbery on behalf of...
I understand that. I'm asking about my ceiling. You idiots are destroying a magnificent nightclub.
One thing you'll never know because you can't. The truth. I suppose I'm moved by this absurd performance. I recognize this assassin.
No, no.
Suicide panel.
Where's the father? Take this miserable sin into the company.
Okay. Well, that was a thing.
Do you want to say what you wrote in our notes?
Yeah. Here, I'll bring them up.
Because I not only do I agree in part, but I completely understand why you wrote this.
I wrote, I'm not a fan of Wes Anderson, but this does look really good. If the runtime is 3 hours, I will be skipping.
No,
you will not find me at the
all caps will be skipping.
Will be skipping.
I got to agree. So let's see where Steve said, I am so not the target audience for his films. Pete Dano said, I am. Pete, I think I'm also in your category, as it tends to be. I like, oh man, God, it's hard to say. Wes Anderson's a tricky one. I like Wes Anderson. I I enjoy his films. I understand like kind of what he's going for. He's got like 13, 14 films now. I have a coworker who is beyond a fan. Like Wes Anderson is like in this guy's like DNA. Like he loves Wes Anderson. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Here's my thing. I don't think Wes Anderson can make a bad film. Like, I don't think anyone is questioning that, right? Like, this movie has a good cast. It'll have twists. It'll have turns. My problem is that Wes Anderson makes the same film.
Yes.
And
I think it's just in part due to his style, right? And like, don't get me wrong, it's very stylized, and every director's got their je ne sais quoi, their look, their feel. I feel like with him, it's just like, I don't know, fork found in kitchen, right? Like we've seen this 14 times already. But I will say at the same time, like his like visual efficiency, it's like there's never a wasted shot. It's like everything means something. Everything's like the economy of images it works, right? Hi.
Not a Wes Anderson fan.
Not a Wes Anderson fan. But I really enjoy the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Right. Like if there's one to enjoy, it's that one.
Yeah.
I think that is Wes Anderson at his best. Like truly. I mean, other people, again, R-Film Bro will say like, it's the, oh my God. I just blanked on every single Wes Anderson movie ever. Moonrise Kingdom, or they'll say Kingdom. Steve Zissou or Zissou, whatever. Like there's a lot of other options, but he's weird. He's like he being Wes Anderson is in a weird mainstream part of his career right now where like he's getting to that point where like he can do anything because no one will tell him no. Yeah. Like, people should be reining him in. And he kind of just has a Wes Anderson style, and he has no interest in removing himself from that or exploring past it.
Yeah. But you know what? I will say visually, like his movies are interesting. The last one, Asteroid City.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I feel like that was probably like the worst looking one. Everything just looked flat, right? There was no like color contrast, no dynamics within the frame. But like, it still wasn't a bad, setup. It wasn't like, I mean, the casts are always stacked. And I feel like he's got enough like brand recognition to him and his style that like, yeah, these studios will just write him a blank check. We're like, go for it. Like, but I don't know. I mean, this one does look pretty interesting. I love Benicio del Toro. I can't stand Michael Cera. I hope he dies in the film at some point.
Respectfully, in the film, we said, Michael Cera is like born to be in a Wes Anderson film, and I find it so interesting that he hasn't been in one. Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, I find that's incredibly, it feels backwards, but Laura says that's funny because I thought this trailer looked exactly like the last one, like the last movie.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. But yeah, I think maybe it just had something to do with like the tech they were using. There's always new cameras out. There's always new lights and stuff. So if they got their hands on some fun stuff ahead of time, I'm sure they were able to really push the tech to its limits. Because they were shooting in like direct sun for a lot of Asteroid City, and you really don't see that because the camera tends to not be able to pick up like the darks versus the highlights. So I mean, depending on what they were using, they got everything.
It looks great. Yeah. Pete says he's the new Jason Schwartzman, who is, I guess, maybe not in this movie. He's P&B's on the outs with Wes because he's been in a lot of Wes Anderson movies too.
Yeah. Maybe that infight.
Yeah. I always tend to, sort of, well, we move on with some of these trailers. We only got 2 left, people, but, trailers are usually meant to do one or two things. Like they either want you to they either want to secure their place in the brand that they're marketing to, or they want to bring people into a place that they've never been. So there are like 2 differentiators there. Wes Anderson tends to be the form in category A of marketing to the people that are already there. And so this is just more of that. So anyways, moving on to the next one. Actually, Daniel, let's do the second to last one. The last one. That's only 3 letters.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
This is is a new film produced by Jordan Peele and his production agency, Monkey Paw Productions. This is him.
Do you want this? I said, do you want this? If you want to transcend the game, you have to dig deep. Your mind and your body have to be in sync. Talent is how hard you're willing to work. No days off. No sleep. We grind. I'm never good enough. I'm never good enough. That's how great people think. So you're gonna have to ask yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice? This ain't a fucking game, man. This is everything. Do you want this? What are you willing to sacrifice? You fucking say it! Say it! Say it! Everything! And show me.
Now that's a freaking trailer.
Yeah, you know that.
My goodness,
visually it was stunning. I fear that I don't know. Something like this, it makes me worried that like maybe we're just gonna get a whole lot of visuals, disconnected visuals. You know. But I do like the surrealism to it, where it's very, you know, like things are just kind of weird, like that last shot or him T-posing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes me excited to see it, but I don't know. I definitely like. I put my trust into Jordan Peele, and I feel like he can like land the plane. You know.
Agreed. It's interesting because Jin brought up a point that I'm like that is very antithetical to the reason why I like it, and that I love football and I love horror films. And this is one that I think tackles it very specifically. Obviously, the through line here is going to be through like CTEs and concussions and what they can do and how they can change your life. And like the horrors of football are like nothing, like you got to like grind and work and do all this terrible stuff to your body just so you can get to a point where you're rich enough to be able to do whatever you want. But then you have to like sacrifice your mind. And it's like, there's so much symbolism with Jordan Peele's movies that he works on. And again, remember,
he's
not directing this; he's producing this. Justin Tipping is the director, who I've never watched any. I've gone through his filmography. I've never seen anything he's done. Zach Ackers has done like one film that I've seen. I believe it was a Jordan Peele movie. I think it might have been Us. He worked on. He's a writer. But Monkey Paw Productions is Jordan Peele's company. They're the ones kind of facilitating this movie, which I enjoyed. Like I enjoyed this trailer. I think this trailer is really well done. Who said it here? Pete Tano said, "Are you sure this isn't a Nike commercial?" That is 100% on purpose. It has to be. That the whole first part of that commercial, until you see like the heads bang, and then they go into like a almost like an X-ray type of camera. Like that it's just sort of breaking apart. Like this is where the movie changes. And like that's what I mean by like it's the through line. It's like what's cutting the movie in half are like CTEs and the destruction of like the flesh, sort of, which like Jordan Peele's explored a lot in Idolatry. And I'm excited about this movie.
Right. Yeah.
I do fear though that when you have horror directors, someone like Jordan Peele specifically, who's always trying to tell, a certain message through his medium, right, of filmmaking, that in this film where he's producing it, he's not the director. It's still to Jordan Peele. But it's not like you don't get 100% Jordan Peele because he's not the director and producer. He's just the producer. So you're only getting 70%, and then you're getting the other 30% as Justin Tipping. So like it is something that I feel is an issue with these kind of movies when like Justin Tipping's name is nowhere on this really, right? It's all Jordan Peele, like from the producers of this.
Right.
This.
Like he's the big pull.
Exactly. But you go in and you're expecting Nope, Us, Get Out, and it's not that. But the trailer is cut that way. So while I do think it's a good trailer, I don't think the final product is going to kind of look like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that's why I'm excited to see it because, like, you can tell like this trailer was cut in a way that's like it's just gonna like throw the weird stuff at you and like really try and bring you in, right? That's the hook. That's the drive. And then I'm sure once we get in there, it's probably going to be like an athletic, not like a sports story per se, but you know, something where it's very heavily influenced by like the sport of, you know, the football, the injuries, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Much more grounded than the surrealism that like we're seeing in the trailer.
Yeah, and it's got a very tight cast of main characters. You've got Tyreek Withers, who this is kind of his feature film debut. He plays the main character. Julia Fox and Marlon Wayans. Now, Julia Fox and Tyreek Withers are playing unnamed characters right now, as far as we know. So that's always kind of fun in a film because it's more about like the character rather than like what's their name and like are they trying to emulate a certain person in Hollywood, and they just kind of connect. But before we move on, yeah, Alexis brought up a good point that as a black director, it makes complete sense to discuss the most pervasive injury in a sport that's predominantly black. Yeah. And Steve said, I'm actually excited to see Marlon Wayans act again. He did Requiem for a Dream. And yeah, this will show his range for sure. The last comment from Dwayne, too often producer is just to get you in the seat, and they end up doing almost nothing on the film. I gotta say, yes, that's probably pretty true. Maybe not for Jordan Peele though. He doesn't have a lot of other things that he's working on. He's got a new film in like 2026, I think. It's next year. But I think this is sort of his foray into it. I think it'll be interesting. Dan, what was your comment? You said you saw something on Twitter about. Just read that.
Yeah, there's a tweet. It said it was this trailer, and it said finally men have their own black swan, which if you don't remember was the movie with not Keira Knightley,
Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis.
Natalie Portman, Mila Kunis, and Winona Ryder. Such a good movie. But yeah, I can totally see this being that new age men's version.
Laura says, I was reading something that wondered if him would be the male version of the Substance in terms of the body horror. Yeah. I think so. Like, there's I suspect we will have an entire review of this movie when it comes out. My guess, 50 million opening weekend for him, unless where I could be wrong is if this is coming out. Did we see when this is coming out, Daniel? I didn't get a date. I think it's around September. I think it's around the launch of the football season. This is not a movie that the NFL, let's just stay there. This is not a movie that the NFL is going to want to be attached to, but it will work in Congress with it. And so I think it's interesting. I think it's going to be an
September
interesting 19th. Yeah. Okay. I knew it was September sometime. And yeah, Steve just put up September 19th. Thank you guys. So, it'll be interesting to see how this film is received. A lot of NFL fans do not like talking about a very, very, very real issue in the sport. Okay, well, not to end on a bummer, I wanted to watch one more trailer. Stick with us, guys, for like 5 more minutes because I had an interesting food for thought that we can leave everyone with. So this is something that is really flown under the radar. It's definitely flown under my radar until I saw this. This is Fountain of Youth, streaming exclusively on Apple TV+.
Charlotte, how have you been?
Well, that might take a while. We haven't spoken in a year.
thought a brother would want to see his sister.
Are you in trouble?
And why would you say that?
Do you only call when you're in trouble?
That's not true. There's a power beyond any of our comprehension. One story. 5 continents. Dozens of cultures over thousands of years.
And which genius will explain to me why I'm here?
Keep the cat in the bag until I release it. Yeah? Great.
We're looking for the Fountain of Youth.
Oh, please, no.
What did I just say about the cat in the bag?
Cat wasn't happy in the bag.
It's here. I can feel it.
There's a reason the fountain was hidden. He can't succeed.
So you really think you're gonna find a magic pool of water at the end of this?
I don't know. But I think you want to find out.
Okay.
I just want to say before you say anything,
okay,
still haven't found what I'm looking for in orchestral is inspired. Oh yes, Steve, instrumental YouTube. Okay, Daniel, thoughts?
No, I'm actually very excited for this. It's like the closest thing we've gotten to like a good National Treasure movie in 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
It definitely has like Uncharted, Indiana Jones, vibe to it. I don't know. It seems I love a good like globe-trotting heist. We're getting the team back together kind of movie. Something about this is really fun to me. And this looks fun. This is like, it doesn't look, chart bursting or I don't know. It's definitely not Oscars contenders, right? It's not Oscar bait. It's a fun action adventure family movie flick. It looks great. I'm really excited for it. Like unironically, genuinely excited to see this one. But I will say the trailer trope of the piano single key leading into like a song that very cliche.
I think that this is a really bad trailer.
Okay.
I find this trailer to be like incredibly like mundane, that it's like so borrowed, right? Like you could probably like, God, I hate to say this because this is just so freaking hack, but it's like a trailer completely made by AI of like, I need adventure. I need key script points. However,
formulaic.
Very formulaic. I think this movie is probably going to be pretty good. And my evidence for this is if you go back and you watch like some of the Apple TV Plus original films, like most specifically like The Gorge, like that trailer is terrible. But I think the movie was pretty good. It was pretty original. Not original, it was based on a book, but it was kind of different than what Apple TV Plus had put out. It's called Apple. I'm not saying that paragraph. What Apple had been putting out, I think was pretty good. I think the to Dwayne's point, this is definitely like a bit of a paycheck movie because the cast is kind of crazy for this kind of B-list movie. Of course, we've got John Krasinski, we've got Isa Gonzalez, Natalie Portman, and Stanley Tucci all have roles in this movie. And
Donald Gleason.
And Donald Gleason, yes. And I'm sure there's probably a few other people that are going to end up being in this movie that it's not, but like the the thing to me that was the most interesting of this whole film, which again, it's kind of, you can't really predict, it's going to be the #1 streamed movie on Apple TV Plus that week. So that's my prediction. It is definitely interesting to see John Krasinski's like career go towards this way. Because he can play earnest really well. He can play, he's got, like, you could write a freaking book on how John Krasinski can play likable on camera. Like, he's so charismatic in that way.
Yeah.
I've watched Jack Ryan. Like, other than him being like buff, I don't really buy him as like a killer.
And I agree. It's hard to picture him. And, some people fall into the trap where it's like, you only see him as that like prominent role. And for me, it's Jim, right? Like in everything I see like just Jim from The Office. But yeah, like Jack Ryan was hard for me to get into for that reason. But like, what else has he been in? Fantastic Four? Not Fantastic Four. Doctor Strange.
Yeah, when he was playing Mr. Fantastic. Yeah.
He can play like earnest, a little arrogant, just fine, right? But yeah, you make me think he's like a spy or like some kind of mercenary. It kind of pulls me out.
Yeah, because even in the only movie that's maybe not similar to this, but that is sort of garnered like that big screen attention. Is that real? Are they really?
I know. You heard?
Can we have someone fact check? Steve, good night. Sleep tight. Steve. Dream of Me and Daniel. Is a Quiet Place. He's in the first one. He helped produce the other films, and he's in the first one. And he's not like a killer in that one. He's still like a dad. He's still likable and very earnest, and like that's his role. And that's why I think he's gonna fit this role very well. Because he's not quite Indiana Jones, and he's not quite like Dr. Dolittle, like, oh shucks, let's go on an adventure. He's somewhere in between, and I think this role is gonna like capture that for him. But this trailer is not doing it justice. So kind of what I'm here to say is give this movie a chance when it comes out. It's out May 23rd, so almost like a month from now, it'll be an Apple Plus.
Because I feel like this is the first time really hearing of it.
Same, like they remember what I kind of said about trailers, right? And their purpose of what they are here to accomplish. And there's a subset of there's a fire that's roaring that they're just trying to flame, and then there's a kindling that they really need to keep like the fire going. Now you would think that they really need to start this adventure fountain of youth fire, but they don't. They're in this camp over here. The fired flame is the apple monster, and they're just like, we just need content in this flame, and this is just another real big wood log that is on this fire to kind of keep it going. It tends to be from a marketing perspective that a lot of people who are watching like these movies on Apple, on Netflix, Hulu, whatever, specifically, the attention span's not great. So I'm sure like a week out, we'll start seeing billboards and everything, maybe even next week, maybe my guess, but they're not going to market this movie until then, which it like lowers the marketing budget, and you can put more money in post production, and it just freaking rolls after that. And I think this movie is a perfect example of that. And so I'm very excited to see sort of not only this film, but like, is John Krasinski just going to be like Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt, and how they just work on Netflix, and he's just like, I'm just going to make all these movies on Apple. Like, they're paying me to play the same person. Like, I'm just going to do that.
I think between Apple and Prime, like, I think he sold his soul to the streamer devil, right?
Yeah.
Watch. Like, we hate to see
it. Yeah. Like, he may not be in any like Oppenheimers or Oscar winning movies soon, but I think he's okay with that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, it's just, he's so good in so much stuff that you're like, oh, I think you could play like really great, but like maybe this is his role.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, he continues to be a working actor, continually getting projects to work on. Plus he like you said, he does a lot of producing. So it's one of those things. I'm sure he's happy to cut a paycheck movie like this, just to get some, like, keep his
Keep his SAG card eligible.
Yeah,
that's what he's trying to do. Keep the SAG card eligible so he can keep getting $5 off at Barnes and Noble. But anyways, that's our show, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll do this every once in a while. You know, there aren't movie trailers worth talking about that come out every month, but it happens. We'll probably do this again as we go towards July, which is going to be a big month for the channel. Because we've got a few pop culture movies coming out, Daniel. I don't know if you've heard, but there are a few movies coming out in July that are going to be pretty popular.
No, this year is stacked.
Superman, the Fantastic Five, which is basically the Beatles, but also the Beatles are more people to figure that one out. Jurassic Park, a re-release. I think
that's coming out. That's
Marmaduke,
a trilogy ender or like a
live action Marmaduke. That's not real. But no, it's a reboot. It's another. Well, it's a continuation, not a reboot of the Jurassic World films.
Yeah, the Jenga movie. Jenga movie's coming out.
Jenga movie. Yeah, a sequel to Her, which is just called Him.
I hate that.
Thanks. All right. Well, that is our show, everyone. Thank you guys all so much for watching and supporting the channel whenever you can. Again, trying to get content out as much as we can, but Daniel cannot stand me most of the time, so it's pretty difficult for him. But
yeah, off screen we hate each other.
We put him to work. Otherwise, he loses his fandom social insurance.
My SAG card.
There goes. It's sad. It's pronounced sad card, Daniel. It gets you nothing but sympathy. Well, everyone, thank you guys so much for being with us. We'll probably see you guys not next week, but the following. Don't know what we're doing, but we'll do something then. And maybe release some content in between there. Again, if you guys would like to follow us at Fandom Social on Instagram, that's where we're gonna maybe do some more movie reviews, more like day-to-day stuff. And then you can follow us, of course, on the YouTube channel where we can post there. But YouTube and Instagram are gonna be the best places. Not saying we're not gonna be on the Facebook group, but it'll
we're winding down.
We'll sunset it eventually. It's just not something that me and Daniel ever check, and we love you all, and we know that you're there, so we do check. But all right, we're 12 minutes over, everyone. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us in our trailer park today. So with all that, everyone, thank you so much. Remember to like what you love what you like, and don't be a jerk about it. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bum, 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 bum.